Hey guys, it's Assad back with another video. Um, so this time I want to talk about how, you read in the news about all these bots that are controlling the web browser and constantly extracting information. And like, for example, a good example of this is you have stock models nowadays. I mean, you have financial companies nowadays, and back in the day, these people used to, analyze the charts, analyze the news, and then, give a predicament of a on, the stock if it's going to go up and down, and that reason they'll, would they either buy the stock or they short the stock. But nowadays, because we live in such a well dense, data driven, atmosphere, a lot of this stuff can be constantly be pulled by web browser automation. And what I want to talk about today is how to get started with these web browser automation libraries. And obviously, Python is the best way to go. Um, so so a little bit about why I wanted to go into this space, just to see what's about, it. I was mainly interested in it because from a perspective of, you have these, high expensive apparel, like for example, Supreme or like Yeezys, and literally in minutes when it comes out, all the things are done. All the supply is done. And when I was looking at how it's quickly, all getting purchased, it's by a bot, right? And what these bots do is right when it comes out, it's constantly checking if the apparel has been dropped or if the shoe has been dropped. And once that is dropped, the bot goes in, it selects which one it wants, and then it goes straight to the payment section, and boom, you're done. So there's no need for me or a regular person to keep on checking if the apparel has been out, or that quick speed that bot delivers. It's not comparable to human ourselves. So um, so that's why I was interested. I was like, I want to learn how to make this bot. And what do you know? It's there's a library out there called Selenium, and Selenium basically gives you the ability to track your browser, to extract information, to control your browser. Um, one thing that I wanted to bring up with you guys is this book that I have on the screen right now, and this is where I started. And in terms of automating stuff, and this is a great book for beginners, and it goes all the way from the beginning. For example, like how to create if statements, how to what does a while loop do. It also starts from the beginning with this book called Automating the Boring Stuff with Python, and then it goes in depth about how to automate your browser, how to extract information, whether that be through a website or any type of website, to finding patterns in specific text, right? So these are all useful information for like a software engineer to go into, or a data science to go into. And so let me pull up the book. Um, and thankfully, this guy he gives it out for free, and it's a great resource. If you're just getting started, or if you're like me, want to get into this field. So I highly recommend using reading this book. So let's talk about Selenium. What is it? What does it do? Selenium is a library where basically, like I said before, it extracts information. And to get started, I would go into your Google search and type in how to use Selenium. And the first page it brings you up is this. And basically, it goes through all the installation processes, how to install it, whether you have a Windows or Mac. Um, and this is the code to basically find out if you want to use Firefox, Chrome, Safari, right? So Selenium is compatible for all mostly all different search engines out there. Um, uh, so so what I decided to do is use Firefox, because that was what was presented to me, and that was one of the easier routes to go down. So let's go into the code. Okay. So just a little preface for this. So I want to go over two different projects, right, that are useful, right, using Selenium. And so let's start from the beginning. So what you want to do is you want to import the Selenium model from the WebDriver, and you want to set a variable called browser, or any variable is appropriate. And what you have to do is make sure you download Firefox and put it in a path where you would you would call it to, right? So for example, you have to download Gecko Driver, and Gecko Driver is basically the backbone of initiating this process. And I stored it under my users that Norzai downloads Gecko Driver, and that's the first process or first step, to initiate that phase. And the second thing you want to do is you want to set that variable name. And what you see how you're calling the method .get, and what get is, it's basically telling the Selenium model, get this URL, right? And basically it gets that URL and has it as a reference for whatever you want it to do. And for this for this example, I used Invent with Python. That was the book I was mentioning before, and let's go to that web page. Okay, now this is basically the meat of Selenium, right? This is what it's best at. It's best at extracting information. And here I have some notes about how you can use it. And within Selenium, you have all these different methods that you call to extract information, right? And there are many different ways you can. So mainly, it's behind. You're extracting it from whatever the HTML code, the CSS, or JavaScript. And I'm not sure if you know, but every HTML text is laid out in a DOM configuration, right? And this is basically a structure that helps you visualize and also helps you write code for how you want to set up your web page, right? Okay, so now there are about 5 main methods you can call. So you can call it by the class name. You can extract it by the CSS selector. You can select it by the element by name, and you can do an element by text, right? And just to give you a little background of how this works. So as you probably know, every web page is broken down into its components of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you want to see how a page is, laid out, what you want to do is you do right click and you inspect. And using Chrome, I mean, almost all of them does it, but I like Chrome the best because it's pretty nice. So if I highlighted computer, it tells me that it's in right here. You see how each part of the code relates to where the actual text or image is within the web page, right? So this is basically the main way of extracting information from here, right? So for example, if you wanted to, so in the purpose of this, I wanted to see if there was a book, sorry, if there was a text called buy print ebook bundle, right? So this might be useful for if you're trying to go to the link directly, or you're trying to give somebody access to this, right? So you tell them, okay, I want to find an element by link text. What that basically means is Selenium, search through the web page and see if you can find like a hyperlink that says buy print ebook bundle, right? So that's what this line of code does, right? So let's say let's see, like manually, this would how we do it. Okay, let's see. We're searching, nothing so far, right? And boom, right here, buy ebook print bundle. So let's inspect it, right? What is it? What is it saying? So it says it's under here. You see how the HTML, it has an href of the link, right? So when you click on it, it references you to newstart.com, blah blah blah, and the link that is presented for the user is buy print ebook bundle. Okay. So what it does here, so Selenium will go, okay, checking the code, and then boom, right here. And what it does, it clicks it, and it directs you to that page. So let's see this in action. I just put in I imported the time library for sometimes in Selenium you have to think about it executes line by line, and sometimes the page is not loaded yet, and it executes the line of code, and then Selenium gets confused, and it tells like, oh, where is this code, and then boom, it throws an error. So I incorporated a sleep function, or I called a sleep function. So what basically it does is say, okay, before you execute the next line of code, just wait 3 seconds, right? So that just ensures that everything's loaded properly, and everything is done with precision. So let's see this in action. So we're gonna run each line of code. So boom, 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 and then you see how it's opening up right now. It's opening up that page. So right now it just opened up that page. It waited 3 seconds, and then it went to the that text box and clicked on it. You see how I didn't do anything. I did all that by the script that I wrote. So you see how that's pretty cool. This is one of the main advantages of using Selenium. It takes out all the boring stuff, all the automated processes for what's it called? I forgot what I said. Forget that. So another practical purpose of this is when I was doing my co-op back at Johnson & Johnson. One of the other co-ops, he and myself, I was talking to him, and there's a lot of business cases you can find by using Selenium. And I worked in the consumer research and development, supporting them like with the technology aspect of it, and we saw that most of the scientists there, they were always filling out these boxes, and they're very repetitive, and this can all be done by giving them like, for example, you just tell them, okay, just tell me a little bit about what you're doing, and you would literally, once they told you that information, 5 pages of information can be filled out with that little information. But before using this automated web browser tool, they would have to go page by page, and this was very inefficient. So that's another use case. And literally, if you sit down and think about it, you'll find many ways you can use Selenium. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, actually, let's end there. So that was basically an intro video of how to use the Selenium model, what it's good for, a nice little example. And let me know, give me my contact information. It will be provided if you have any questions. Thanks.